Hello, good morning. Thanks for coming to this session. Uh, it's a beautiful day. I see the theater is right here in front of our competitors, but it's going to be a great presentation. So the topic here is email security within Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection. And unbelievable. Okay, so maybe it will take some time. So I'm going to talk about three topics. First of all, fish from an attacker perspective. How come it's still a problem for email security after so many years of investments in these areas? And then introduce campaign intelligence, which is a transformational innovation in Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection. And then finish with what I know you like most and it makes me most excited, which is show you how these things look like and how they can help you, really. So to get right into it, even to send one phish email, an attacker has to figure out quite a few things. You have to have a server from where to send the emails out. The IP address should not be blocked. You have to have some domains that kind of look good. Maybe they're authenticating. You have to have a payload. It's got to be a URL that's not blocked, that's sending you to a phish kit to collect the credentials. If you use malware, you need attachments. You need a very good social engineering template so people actually are enticed to click on your stuff. And then once you get the compromised account, the passwords, you have to figure out what to do with them, how to monetize them and do all the other stuff. So what's clear is that most of the fish that people worry about is actually run as a business. These operations actually are carefully monitored, and people are using test accounts to figure out if they're delivering properly. They're using what the marketing emailers are doing, which is they're tracking click-throughs and A/B testing to figure out which campaign is doing better than the other. And also, they're not just, it might be tempting to think, if you see, hey, I've been attacked in this morning by 5 emails, you may think that these guys only work for 5 minutes a day. But actually, like any business, they want to run it continuously. And they basically have assembly lines. If you think about it, each of these ingredients, or IOCs or entities, are being put together into emails, and the emails go out, and then have to continuously change and morph these things to avoid blocking, right? Security companies go and actually mark these things as bad. You have to replace with a new one that's good. New one. If one of the line is broken, of course, the product is not good anymore, right? If the IP is blocked, then your fish doesn't go out. If your URL is blocked, then the click won't go out. So they're running this continuously all the time. And from an engineering point of view, it's actually quite an achievement, right? It's a pretty complex system of moving parts. You have all of the security companies trying to shut you down and disrupt your operation. So what's helping them a lot is actually this underground economy, where actually you don't have to worry about domains. There's somebody who can sell you domains, and you can pay something to get them bulk at very good prices. For example, if you pay 50 cents for a very cheap domain, if you want to buy one, they may pay $100 for 20,000 domains. And the same is true for everything. They can get in bulk IPs. They can actually subscribe to services that says, hey, I need 10 websites that are compromised, and the SLA is that if some sites get blocked, it will be replaced by a good one. So this allows them actually it's helping them a lot, because now they don't have to specialize in all of these areas. They can just outsource to specialists some of this and then put together the attack. And it's not only for the ingredients themselves, but also once you have an attack that's successful, it helps them monetize it. So for example, if I have a malware attack and now I have some infected machines, I don't have to figure out shall I run ransomware and figure out how to do Bitcoin or other things. I can actually sell the machines to others that will know how to specialize on those things. And this helps actually attacks look extremely complex. So even if it's a small operation, maybe one or few guys, you know, because it's using the expertise of so many other people, attacks are going to be very complex, and they are very complex. So now, what does it mean for us, and what dynamics do we have? As the filters become more and more effective, the blocking of those entities is faster, right? It used to be just 5 years ago, probably, a phish site would be up and monetizable by the attacker for days or maybe even weeks. Now it's no longer the case, right? The URLs are blocked very promptly, and it's not only in mail flow. We have time of click protection, for example, in advanced threat protection, but in other products as well. There's even the browsers. Most browsers have safe browsing APIs. Takedowns happen faster. So now a phish site, I can probably compute it. I'll do it when we go back, but I think it's a matter of hours of, on average, how long a phish site is useful for the attacker. So because their ingredients now expire faster in their assembly line, the attacker has to actually buy more of those, right? It used to be, for today, I need 2 phish URLs. Now they're shut down faster, I probably need 50 of them. And not only they need more, but they have to be more diverse. It used to be that you know, you have a spam domain, and then you create a subdomain, and you create another subdomain, and that's fooling the filters. It's not longer the case. Or a URL, you play with the URL parameters and path. No, filters are smarter. So now actually you have to not only get more ingredients, but have them more diverse, which causes a problem, because from a point of view of a defender, now you see all of the attacks appear more fragmented and more diverse. And I think this is one of the reasons why you're hearing so much, hey, there's a shortage in SecOps, and hey, SecOps teams are overwhelmed because there's 50,000 alerts and things like that. It's not like there are 50,000 attackers out there, but actually the attackers are fragmenting their attacks in such a way they appear to be so diverse and hard to manage. And of course, this puts pressure on the filtering to actually do better. You have to move faster, you have to track more things, you have to be smarter. And if you saw some of those huge numbers, like there's 8 trillion signals that we're tracking, some of that is driven by this stuff. We really have to be better and better. So protection gets more sophistication. These guys is sophisticated, the attackers move faster and more. And it's actually not new. You would say, Mihai, why do you tell me this stuff? It's been happening for a while. Keep up the good work. Be on top, which is a fair statement. But what's lost in this picture is actually the human. People like you or me who have to answer even the single question. Man, what's attacking us? Are we up? Is our protection good? Are we doing better than last month? Shall I do more? Do I have configuration issues? Am I doing enough? Am I investing in the right technology, people, and things like that? It's a very simple question and obvious, but it's not so easy to answer. So this is where we're proposing campaign intelligence. And it promises to offer a big picture of an attack faster and more complete than any human can do. And at this point, I suppose all of you would be skeptical because I wouldn't believe this statement at all. But again, I'll repeat it. So a big picture of an attack faster and more complete than any human can do. And I'll explain you why. So first of all, it's using all this huge machinery to try to stitch together these attack fragments, which are actually a lot of them. And at the service side, there are really, really lots of them. And it's doing this over multiple days and weeks. So a human can't remember, hey, last Monday, actually, I saw the same IP with the same domain sending a little bit different URL. Can't really do that. And even databases, I invite you to try to run some queries of those natures, and you see how well it goes. The third bullet there is very important because it's using the breadth of the Office 365 service. So each customer in their SecOps will see their little attack, right? Their slice. Okay, at 10 a.m. they came with 10 mails, and then at 12 maybe they came with 50, and the next day. But they only see parts of the assembly line. Because we're so big and we have such a huge coverage, I mean, probably we get most of the enterprise fish in the world. I mean, for sure, in the world. Therefore, I'm seeing most of their assembly line output, which helps me actually stitch up these fragments in a way that is not available to others. It's just not there. And we're also handling via very smart AI the morphing. We figure out, hey, these things are similar, these domains are similar, these IPs are in the same range, this, and also infrastructure hijacking, which is actually a terrible blow to defenders. These guys are going, they're hijacking something, or they're using a email sending service to send their stuff, and you have to figure out how to deal with that. So again, the goal is there. I think we're meeting it. I'm telling you why, kind of conceptually, and now let me show you what these things are. So the campaigns, they were called, we group these mails in campaigns, and the campaigns will have a type. There's going to be fish campaigns, malware campaigns, other types, an ID and a name, a recognizable name that's derived from the subject line. And then you can quickly see, what is the impact. How many mails were sent, how many were inboxed, if anybody clicked. So at a glance, you can figure out, do I worry about this campaign was fully caught or not? The timeline would help you figure out, hey, it's a campaign, it happened yesterday, or it's happening now, it's happening every day, or things like that. And then the next part is, I think, the most rich one, where I try to compress here the critical aspects. So the first parts are, of the flow is, what are the sending IPs and what are the sending domains. And this information is very important because, if you recognize there, hey, wait a minute, I think that's my printer. Or, hey, that's my on-prem system. Maybe I have an open proxy. And the same if you see some domains that you think you own, then you have to a little bit worry. Am I compromised? Is something going on? And of course, these are going to be enriched with authentication data. So are these guys spoofing me, or are they actually in my network? It's pretty serious stuff. And then, so basically, there are two layers. And then what happened to these mails? The mails came through, who acted on them? What did the filtering stack do? Do I have a configuration that impacted this on here? I'm showing a tenant allow, for example. If you have an IP whitelist or you have a domain or ETR, it will show up here. You see stuff that was being found as fish. And also even end user safe list and block list, which is super interesting, right? Maybe the filter did all this good job, but this guy has a safe list, and the mail is rescued from the junk folder, for example. So this picture is extremely important, especially when you look at tons of emails at the same time. And the last layer, the fourth layer here, tells you what is the current location of the item. I don't have to worry if the item is a quarantine, right? It's not easily accessible to the end user. In the junk folder, unfortunately, there's still people who are so happy to see their bank account and their change your password stuff in the junk folder they're clicking. And of course, inbox is where you really have to worry about. And at the bottom, basically, we present here what are the ingredients. There's IOCs that were used in this campaign, of course, pertaining only to your tenant, to your scope. You see what are the sending IP, sending domains, and URLs used. So what about when there's recipient action? Let's say somebody clicks on stuff, you quickly see it in the impact, and of course this metadata for the campaign will be present in other places, and we'll see later. You see, for example, this timeline. Okay, it seems like this guy is coming at 12 o'clock every day. I blurred a little bit some of the domains and the IPs, but as you see, you can see also what happened with the tiny click protection, right? Because advanced threat protection includes safe links. Actually, we know when people click on these payloads. And you can see if the safe link blocked or allowed, or even if they blocked, and then the block page can be configured to allow you to click through. Yes, I believe I'm smarter than the machine, therefore I want to click through. And that will show as well. And so basically at a glance, if there's clicks, the default view is going to be recipient action. You can figure out who clicked, at what time, on what URL. And of course, this allows you to go further investigation, what this guy did, and we'll see later how this goes. So views like this also allow you to spot filtering and config issues, right? Like those IP allows. The IP allows is very hard to manage because maybe they've been compiled over so many years and you don't know exactly the reason. Shall I remove this IP? Not. Here you have in context information, right? Hey, look, I really missed this part of the tag because of this allow. So you can send it to your mail admin or maybe take corrective actions within the context of the tag itself. Similarly, you can see the zap action. Zap is a feature in ATP which allows basically cleaning the inbox after the mail is delivered. But it also tracks things like admin actions. So if your security team actually went and cleaned up part of the campaign, you can show its impact. Hey, do I still have stuff in the inbox? No, it is cleaned. It's very important to show the impact within a campaign, within an attack of the security team actions. Yeah, and another thing, for example, one of the customers that have this in the preview mode, they used exactly an image like this to go and turn off the policy that would allow safe links click-through through the block page. So this helps in a lot of areas. And of course, it's well integrated with the rest of threat intelligence in ATP. For example, if you go to explore the inbox mails, they are pre-selected there, which allows you actually to start. You can do more queries, refine, do other things, and you can also take actions. For example, delete more mails or start an investigation, add an incident. So it's well integrated into the overall flow in advanced threat protection and will be even more integrated later. So again, going back to the huge goal, big picture of attacks, faster and more complete than any human can do, I think the goal is kind of met. And the big picture is not only a mental picture. I was so passionate about not just having, yes, I understand. I look at all this data, I understand. It's important to be a picture because the picture can communicate things out. So, not everybody has access or competencies, to understand all the data, dashboards, things like that. A picture can tell the story very well. And so often we have this, who here heard the cases of, hey, I can't believe this guy clicked on this simple fish. Look how well even a fifth grader can recognize it, and how come your AI and your SecOps and all my phishing education actually made this guy click? Can I show? Anybody heard this before? Okay. I should ask, anybody never heard this before? Okay, no, but okay. So unfortunately, I'm hearing it a lot, and it's kind of, okay, I missed it, yeah. But this can tell a different story. You can say, wait, before we hire some fifth grader in our security team to replace us all, let's look a little bit at what's happening here. So this attack actually started 2 weeks ago. And this is how much and how these guys moved. And this is how I blocked it. And this is this other thing, other blocks. And this is how I actually jumped on it and cleaned up some of. And this is how ATP actually, with the click protection, blocked some of the things. And you see, if you didn't have the phishing education, you'd have had 50% of the clicks, not the 20% that you have now. And you see, even if this guy's clicked, I actually understood what is the problem, and I straightened my posture because I improved the policies. And of course, this can continue further, right? We want to integrate this into the device the information and also identity information. You can see, yes, this guy's clicked, he gave the credentials, but I have TFA. So it changes a little bit the, hey, let's see the fifth grader now, kind of deal. And it also shows that all of these investments actually accrue. Yes, you have a click, it is that guy. If you didn't have this training, it would have been 3 clicks. And without the ATP, it would have been 50 clicks. And without this, right? Because the attackers actually always want to maximize their profit. So this is what is the promise. In terms of timeline, it's already in preview since summer with a few people. We've done a lot of work to make sure it's a good quality. We don't have spam campaigns here. We don't have random stuff. The goal is here to have a very, very good the quality stuff. When you look at campaigns, it should be something else when I want to look at it. I want to look at fully blocked campaigns because they're also telling about successes. And I want to understand also if there's some miss, where is it coming from, and what can I do more. It's going to be, and probably will be before end of the year and GA in spring. So let's see if the demo will work. No, it's here. Okay, so this is how you see the campaigns showing up at the bottom of Explorer, top campaigns. The campaigns have a type. This is a test account, so, but the subtype sometimes will tell you things related to the brand that's being fished. So it could be other Office 365. Unfortunately, it's a big target, but people go after Salesforce, DocuSign, other kind, Box, all of the services. Recipients, you click on some of this, and then the visualization should come up, and you can see when things happen. And of course here you can see the strings will be fixed pretty soon, but you can see, hey, this was a blog domain and things like that. You see the sending domain, sending IPs. The sending IPs, of course, provide you all of the information that you might need related to where is the IP located and stuff. Senders involved, payloads. Payloads, of course, you can go and take a look at the URL and again see, hey, where is it hosted? So you don't have to go to whois or other place. You kind of have this information here. And we're going to add a lot more stuff. This is just scratching the surface. And of course, if I go to Explore campaign, it's opening up in the Explorer. Again, I should have all of the emails at the bottom. You can add or remove stuff here and then take the actions like hard delete or move to inbox or start investigations, which is our automation story and advanced threat protection. So I think I'm out of time and a lot of stuff I said. So, but anyway, if you want to go away with two things, is that attackers unfortunately are making lots of money. They're using a very more and more evolved underground economy, so they'll appear to be smarter and smarter and move faster and faster. The way to keep on top of it is to get closer to the attacker, to figure out what they're doing, and actually understand also what all of your filters are doing in your processes. And campaign intelligence is there to give you this big picture across all of the stages and help you be the hero of security and not the guys who's ashamed of the 5-year-old, fifth grader, sorry. Thank you very much. Oh, and please, I deleted all the slides at the end. They were supposed to include all those file some survey. Give me good marks. Thank you.